Jesus, let him express himself. God, is this a tyranny?
Dearest Princess Fiona, you are hereby summoned to the kingdom of far, far away for a royal ball in celebration of your marriage, at which time the king will bestow his royal blessing upon you and your
Husband?
son. Love, the king and queen of far, far away, aka Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad?
Mom and Dad?
Prince Charming?
Royal ball?
We're not going.
What?
I mean, don't you think they might be a bit shocked to see you like this?
Well, they might be a bit
Probably.
surprised. But they're my
Good.
parents, Shrek.
Uh-huh.
They love me.
Huh?
And don't worry, they're gonna love you too.
Sure. This is a great example of a couple miscommunicating. The first mistake is Shrek saying,
We're not going.
it seems like he's just deciding it for Fiona, but without consulting her. But he does so as a defensive mechanism. He knows that Fiona's parents will accept her, but what he truly fears is being blamed for not giving Fiona what her parents consider her best life. However, he never openly communicates it, because chances are he isn't aware he is being defensive. Now, her response doesn't validate his emotions at all. She essentially dismisses Shrek's concerns by not acknowledging his reluctance and by expecting him to just get over it. She expects her parents will accept him just because she loves him, but obviously Shrek doesn't agree, and this is never acknowledged. It's like she's saying, it's sunny in my world, why isn't it sunny in yours? And this is when men consider women emotional during a fight, because Shrek thinks he's giving facts while she responds with feelings. In reality, both of them are emotional. He's feeling insecure, skeptic, worried. These are all emotions. Just because he's not aware doesn't mean that they're not there. And she's feeling the same, more or less. Now, please understand, humans are inherently emotional, simply because we seek to maximize pleasant feelings and minimize unpleasant feelings. Therefore, all of our actions have an emotional component.
Yeah, right. Somehow I don't think I'll be welcome at the country club.
Will you stop it? They're not like that.
Then how do you explain Sergeant Pompous in the Fancy Pants Club band?
That's a good point.
Come on. You could at least give them a chance.
Oh,
Fair.
to do what? Sharpen their pitchforks?
No.
Okay, Shrek continues to be reluctant and now also offers what he considers to be concrete proof that his fears are at least valid by mentioning the Fancy Pants Club band. He's just trying to show her how out of place they are in his world, and that must mean that he will be out of place in her world. That's extremely valid, but Fiona keeps repeating her parents are not like that and that he should give them a chance. Also fair. But she never addresses the fancy messenger's presence. And this is an example of emotional invalidation. It almost feels like Shrek is in the wrong for having a valid fear. It would be very nice for Fiona to be like, oh, okay, I see this might concern you, but let me reassure you, nothing can get between us. We're stronger than that, or anything like this. Reassurance is something that everyone needs. It's just that generally speaking, men need to become better at asking for it, and women need to get better at spotting their partner needing it.
No. They just want to give you their blessing.
Oh, great. Now I need their blessing?
Okay.
Well, if you want to be a part of this family, yes.
This is
And who says I
escalating.
want to be part of this family?
You did when you married me?
Yeah, so very important. Before we get married or committed, make sure your partner knows the non-negotiables and the things that are important for you. Shrek feels blindsided and betrayed. He never thought he'd need the blessings of her parents. He's an ogre, for God's sakes. He'd never dream of going near humans, let alone ask for their blessings. And it's like Fiona doesn't even acknowledge his experience and reality. She just expects him to get on board with whatever it is that she finds important without even having worries or a personal experience about it. As much as some men want to describe themselves as stoic, they're still human beings and act as emotionally as any other human being. It would be very useful for Shrek to just say, hey, let's hit pause on this conversation and let's talk about it again at another time.
Well, there's some fine print for you.
So that's it. You won't come.
Trust me, it's a bad idea. We are not going, and that's final.
If you ever wondered how conflict escalates, this is how. When the dynamic of the couple shifts from being teammates to fighting for power and dominance. If Fiona paused to validate Shrek's feelings, even without fully agreeing, yeah, because, you don't have to agree to validate someone's experience. But her validating him might open up a pathway to better understand him. But I think she also might experience some issues removing her parents from the pedestal. It's like she has some cognitive dissonance when confronted with a scenario that might challenge this perfect image of them, such as Shrek's concern about being accepted. But we need to also talk about the family systems theory. According to this theory, each member of a family plays a specific role and maintains certain beliefs that preserve the family's balance. Fiona's insistence on the inherent goodness and acceptance of her parents could be a way to maintain her own sense of security and identity within the family system. So in a way, I think Fiona herself struggles with her identity. I mean, after all, she has gone a dramatic transformation physically and socially by the end of the first movie. Her insistence on her parents' unconditional acceptance could be her way of seeking validation for her new identity while trying to reconcile it with her old self. What a surprise.
Come on, Shrek, we don't want to hit traffic!
The traffic is the worst, guys.
Don't worry, we'll take care of everything.
Yeah, that's going to reassure you. Yeah, they already broke something, Jesus. Hey! Here we see what I like to call the tormented husband. This is a spouse that genuinely loves his partner and wants to make her happy. However, her happiness very often means his unhappiness. As you see, he has tried to voice his concerns and worries clumsily, yes, but at least he did open that discussion, but it has been downplayed. Now he finds himself in the position of either repeating himself and his needs, which means being vulnerable, or prioritize their partner's happiness. And for many men, repeating their dissatisfaction, getting vulnerable like that, makes them feel as if they're not supportive partners. And this is where many men will collect resentment. When I counsel couples, very often men feel unappreciated because for them, agreeing to do something they're not keen on represents an act of love. However, their partner might not feel the same. In this case, Fiona, for instance, sees going to her parents as something that simply needs to be done. It's not a favor to her or an act of love. It's just part of their duty as a married couple. This is why it's very important to understand that we need to give affection in the way that our partner understands it. Fiona might benefit from understanding that for Shrek, stepping out of his comfort zone is a significant expression of his love and commitment. Similarly, Shrek might benefit from understanding that Fiona views attending her parents as a non-negotiable part of their shared life and not a favor to her. Also, I find this very ironic because their first argument comes exactly after the honeymoon period ends, which is what happens in real life as well. A relationship starts after the honeymoon period is over. I think donkey is the reason why I chose to not have children.
All right, you're lost.
I'm gonna just stop talking!
Finally! Ah, Jesus. No shit, donkey.
The kingdom of far, far away, donkey.
What don't you
That's
understand?
where we're going. Far, far away.
All right, I get it.
Do you?
I'm just so dog bored.
Well, find a way to entertain yourself.
True. People can get bored only if they're boring. No, oh God. Now please understand, the reason why Shrek and Fiona go through issues later on isn't because of the parents or their schemes. I mean, they contribute, of course, but they were able to deepen the cracks because the cracks were already there. Look at them here. They're obviously uncomfortable, and it's not just because of Donkey. There is something unspoken between these two. There is frustration and anger and resentment floating around, but there's no verbalization of it. Silence is beautiful if there is no tension, but dreadful if there is. What's most probably happening is that both Shrek and Fiona are in their heads and brooding instead of spending time regulating. Now understand, conflict is normal and beneficial for a relationship. After all, if you plan on spending the rest of your life with someone, you're going to encounter their shadow very often, and vice versa. So learning how to regulate oneself becomes even more important. Regulating oneself becomes an act of love. I know it might be hard, but one of the advice I give to the couples I counsel is to stop thinking what the other should have done or should have said and start focusing on the question, how can I help this situation? It's very tempting to focus on your partner and their lacks, but if you do that too much, you'll become blind to your own shortcomings and on how you might enable some behaviors. I always say we attract what we are, not what we want. So looking inside is the first step to solve things outside. No, please. Oh God. Ah!